Welcome to our regular midweek devotion time. Usually every week, I try on Wednesday, whenever I can, I usually post a short 9 or 10 minute devotional offering for the YouTube and for Facebook. Usually the first couple of minutes or so is just nature. I really like nature. I feel close to our Creator in nature. I see the beauty of His handiwork in nature, and I just want to share it with you each week. And then the last few minutes, I bring up some sort of theme that has to do with the Christian life, and you can agree with me or you can disagree with me, and quite often I don't even give my opinion of it. I just throw out the questions, but it's there to make us think and chew on. I want to do something differently this week. This is Wednesday of Holy Week, which is also called Spy Wednesday. Now, each year at Easter season, I like to think about each day of the week of Holy Week, what was happening in the life of Jesus and his disciples on that particular day back in that time. If possible, I like to kind of close my eyes and lean back and imagine that I am with them and how I would feel. So on this Wednesday, let me share with you what's happening. And I'm going to lift this light up just a little bit because it might be glary to you, but it's hard for me to read in here in the dark. This is in Luke chapter 21. Jesus has been teaching in the temple. This is in verse 37, the last few verses of chapter 21, the first few of chapter 22, and this is Wednesday of Holy Week. Now each day Jesus was teaching at the temple. And each evening, he went out to spend the night on the hill called the Mount of Olives. And all the people came early in the morning to hear him at the temple. Now, Jesus had been getting kind of under the hide of the religious leaders with some of what he's talking about and being pretty blunt with his talks. Now, this is chapter 22. And now the festival of the unleavened bread, called the Passover, was approaching, and the chief priest and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. And then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priest. Now Judas is taking the initiative in here. He goes to the chief priest and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. Well, they were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no crowd was present, to protect Jesus. And of course, the opportunity would come tomorrow night, on Thursday night, after the Passover meal in the Garden of Gethsemane. But on this date, Judas has decided to betray Jesus. Jesus is teaching and preaching in the temple, and he's kind of raising the ire of religious leaders because they don't like what he's saying. A few questions for myself today. Have there been times in my life when I felt like telling the truth was not a very popular endeavor and might cut off some friendships or make people mad? Probably in your life too. Have there been times in my life when people that I trusted or people that were part of my inner circle, my closest friends, were out there someplace behind my back trying to cause harm for me, stirring up trouble when I was oblivious to what they were doing? Or maybe I knew they were doing it, but they were just so close to my inner circle that there wasn't much I could do except let them by with it. Have you ever been betrayed? Someone in your inner circle is back there stirring up trouble when you don't even know it, or maybe you suspicion it, but there's not much you can do about it. If so, you kind of have a handle on this Spy Wednesday and what Jesus was going through. We're halfway through another week. We come to worship our Lord again in just a few days. Between then and now, tomorrow we remember the Last Supper, the Garden of Gethsemane, the betrayal of Jesus, the arrest, and then during the night, the early morning hours, and the day, Friday in the morning, we have the stories of Jesus being tossed back and forth from one kangaroo court to another as they're trying to find a charge against him. And then finally, he's crucified and dead and sealed in a tomb. And Saturday is quiet and dark. But Sunday, that's when the power of heaven breaks loose and Jesus pops out of the tomb, and we still celebrate today. Which, by the way, at our church, just a reminder, we don't have regular church services on Easter morning. We have an early service at 7 o'clock, followed with a potluck breakfast together after that. And I look forward to seeing you there. Everyone's invited. And may God bless you on this Holy Week.